Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. 48 hours, less than 48 hours, and it will be 2020. I had some other footage, some other episodes that I wanted to put up here, but something's going on with my iTunes and I am going to have to figure out what that is. So I'm just going to go ahead and do an audio today, and it is about narcissistic people and the fact that they will never change. And sometimes these people are people that we've already binded ourselves with. Either we have children with them, or they could be our own children or parents, or someone that has what would normally be an important role in our lives. And as empathetic people, we are always trying to find a way to work things out. But there's a reason why we cannot work things out with narcissistic people, and that's because they don't change. And when you're going up against something that doesn't change, it can be very detrimental to you. Let's discuss that. One of the first times I dealt with a narcissistic person was as a child. And if any of you guys can remember dealing with, let's say, a parent who was unpredictable, but then on some levels they were predictable. It's almost like you knew what would happen if you did a certain thing or if you asked a certain question. And usually when we're young, we don't have the courage to fight for ourselves, or we don't even have the mental capacity to do so. And then when we go out into the world and we find ourselves attracting and being in relationships with these kind of people, it's kind of off-putting. But I think at that point, if you went through a childhood where you were kind of oppressed and maybe weren't able to express yourself or have your way, when you get into a relationship and you see these things start to happen with the person that, you invested time in or maybe had a child with, this can be like surprising, or it can be upsetting. And so you will go above and beyond to try to get your side of things out, or maybe try to work on things, to try to bring it to an even place, to a middle ground. But narcissistic people cannot change. They never change. They don't change. They don't change because they don't want to change, and they're stuck inside of this pattern. So like, for instance, as I said in a previous video yesterday when I was talking, when I was discussing how we are not the reason why they do the things that they do, right? So narcissistic people, first of all, are going through life living in the past, right? They're living in the past. And when you're living in the past, it's really hard for you to focus on the future in any kind of way. They're living in the past in the sense that they are trying to be someone or trying to hold up this false self without actually doing the work and making the contributions that it takes to grow, to be progressive. Because somewhere along the line, narcissistic people were scarred to the point where they chose to just stop growing. There's like this arrested development. But on the outside, they can fake it and pretend like they're moving at the same pace as you, but they're really not. And if you think about it, particularly if you had a child with a narcissist, or you have a narcissistic relative or siblings like I do, if you think about it, the relationship is stagnated. It's stuck. You never really get anywhere. And this is the thing that is so frustrating dealing with narcissistic people. They keep you going. If you allow them to, they will keep you spinning in a circle forever. You literally never get out of it. You literally never get out of that hump. Even in instances and cases where you may have some good experiences or some good days, for the most part, the narcissist will pull you backwards, whether it's through an argument or whether it's just them, refusing to do their part, or if you live with them, or if you expect, let's say, financial support from them because you're no longer together and you have a child. Throughout the entire relationship, the narcissist will pull back and cause and create all kinds of inconveniences in the life of the person that they have this bond with, right? This is why I've learned that it's really best to completely let narcissistic people go. It's like you absolutely cannot have any kind of relationship with them, because a normal empathetic person is going to continue to have desires and passions and different feelings of wanting to progress. You're going to want to move forward. You're going to want to see change, right? You're going to want to actually experience what it's like to do something new, or to be on a new level with a person, to forge a tighter bond, to see things improve. And let's just say where a person, may have partied too much, or been lazy, or always getting up late and not improving their lives. Because remember, when we have people in their lives who are stagnated and they never improve, then that's a poor contribution to us. Because let's just say you decide that you're going to go to college and you're going to get your master's degree because you want to move yourself into a different position so that you can have more money, and you're dating a narcissistic person who's complacent, right? And they show this complacency through different ways, because they're always manipulating to keep people inside of the fold for narcissistic supply. You could spend 3-4 years with this person, feeling sorry for them, giving them all this empathy, because they're telling you, I don't feel like I'm good enough, or, I don't have enough money right now to, pay for school. In other words, with the narcissistic person, there's an excuse for every solution. That saying, you might come up with a solution and they will have an excuse not to take that solution. Or sometimes what narcissistic people do is they will pretend to accept your solution, but you'll never see the movement or the progress on it. And it's very, very frustrating. And the reason why it's dangerous to our psyches and to our spirit is because when you stay in a fold with a person like this, eventually what this person does by refusing and resisting to progress and change, this person slowly breaks down your boundaries. Slowly but surely, you start to give in to whatever the narcissist is telling you, whatever the narcissist is showing you, and then you actually cheat yourself. This is how people settle for these kind of people for years on end. And I don't think there's anything worse than realizing that you got yourself entangled up with a narcissist and you have children by narcissistic people. I'm going to do a video discussing how narcissistic people, particularly when we don't know who they are and we haven't identified and acknowledged them, can literally infiltrate you and bring drama and pain and disruption and all kinds of things into your life without even being in a relationship with you, by using your children as tools. And this is something that I had a hard time grasping, because I thought that every person was able to distinguish the difference between the relationship they may have had with the person that failed in an intimate relationship and then the best interests of a child. But I found in my own life that grown adult people literally will continue to use a child as a tool to hurt another person and then ruin the child in the process. These are the kinds of things that narcissistic people do. So even when you think that you're being a good person and you're being a better person, and you stay in a relationship with the narcissist or in a friendship with the narcissist, you actually cheat yourself and deplete your own energy, your own spiritual energy, your own potential, your own God-given ability to choose and free will. You deplete those things. Those things, you start to eat up those things. And this is why we have to implement certain peaceful practices and meditation and self-improvement and self-study to be able to have a healthy separation from these kind of people when they're in our lives as holding important roles like baby fathers or baby mothers or ex-wives or adult children. Because if you don't create that healthy spiritual separation and, the reality is accepting people for who they are, you will actually never reach the full potential that God has put you here for. And I think part of this test and this challenge with these narcissistic people is for us to grow through that pain, is to learn about people, and part of it is to come to accept that there are evil people out here who are operating on the other end of the spectrum. They don't believe in anything. They don't believe in a future. They don't even have the capacity or what it takes to believe in anything outside of the past or yesterday. They're not even in the current moment, because in order for them to do that, they would actually have to live. And in order to live, they would have to take off the mask, strip off the fakeness, and they would actually have to start to become and evolve. And in order to do that, there's an element of extreme vulnerability that a human being has to fall into to be able to grow. You have to be wrong. You have to hurt. You have to be able to accept when you did something wrong and work to improve it and do something about it. But narcissistic people can't do that because they suffer with an extreme strain of like an arrested development. They never fully developed. In order to develop, you actually have to do things. You have to engage in things that are different, all the time. You can't hold on to the same beliefs for 10, 15, 20 years. You have to, we're required to change and grow. What we believed 5 years ago might not necessarily be what we believe today, because we're actually doing work and having experiences and meeting people and growing and doing things that cause us to question our beliefs from yesterday. But if you notice, with narcissistic people, they usually hold one fake belief. This is why when these people see people around them growing, let's say you started out as a Christian, but now you're a Muslim, or you used to be a Muslim, but now you're studying, Eastern philosophies and Buddhism. Whatever it is, you're always changing and graduating, because life is full, it's abundant, there's so many things to do. But narcissistic people usually don't spend any true real time studying the things that they claim that they believe. They usually pick them up from other people, whether it was their parents, somebody they grew up with, a friend, someone else they were around. They never really do the down and dirty, grimy work to be able to justify what they believe, because they spend every single waking moment searching for narcissistic supply to help maintain their false beliefs about themselves, whether those beliefs are grandiose or I'm perfect. They said I wasn't, no good, but I'm better than everyone else, and I'm going to prove it to you, and I'm going to show it to you by any means necessary. This is the mindset that narcissistic people have. They're always in this vengeful state of mind where they're paying people back, or this competitive state of mind. This is another reason why having a narcissist around you is dangerous, because while you just might be going about your life, living your life as you normally do in a relationship. I know you guys heard of sleeping with the enemy, and you're in a relationship with this narcissist, and every accomplishment that you make and everything that you do, and even friends, close friends who are narcissistic, everything that you do, they see it as a competition. It angers them. It creates envy inside of them, and they want to take you out or cancel you out, or they want to find a way to throw a wrench in your program so that you are not successful. Because when you're successful, to them it looks like you're perfect, and if you're perfect in their minds, that means that you are offending them, because no one's more perfect than the narcissist. Even though on the deep subconscious level the narcissist knows they're not perfect. The narcissist knows what they're doing is wrong. The narcissist knows that they mistreat people, the people that are closest to them. They know that they don't love and take care of their children. The only time narcissistic people want to be around their children is if it's for show. Narcissistic people see their children as an extension of themselves, so they'll use their children or prop their children up in cases where they can get narcissistic supply. Someone saying, wow, you're a really good parent, or he looks or she looks just like you, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, wow, she's an A student, or whatever. Meanwhile, all of these attributes might be from what the hardworking parent helped the child achieve, but the narcissistic parent will step in and try to get credit for something that the parent didn't do or contribute to. And so when we stay wrapped up and folded up with these people, we fool ourselves into believing that these people can change. They can't change. They're stuck in a perpetual state of arrested development. It's just a way of life that they choose to be. And they have the manipulative skills and tactics to be able to drag and draw people into these relationships and into this state of being where your boundaries are being broken down for years on end, and you never really get to achieve and accomplish what you came here for. And so this goes back to what I said yesterday about, creating those 2 columns on a paper and deciding before this new year comes in, these people in your life who it seems that if you really look at them, and if they've been there in your life for years, and you do an assessment and really look at them and look at the relationship, how far have you progressed? What have you been able to do in that relationship that you would not have been able to do on your own? Because remember, everyone around us and everyone that we meet should be helping us move forward, and we should be doing the same things for others. Are you the person that's always a benefit to others and helping them and moving them forward, but there's no one there for you? That could be because you're surrounded by narcissistic people, like I was, users and takers that drain you for your talent, drain you for your wit, stay around you for your intellect, copy your ideas. These narcissistic people know who has the juice, and they'll go above and beyond to get some of that juice, and then they'll throw you to the side, and then you have to deal with asking yourself, this is why a lot of people have low self-esteem and lose self-love, because then now you're asking yourself, your higher self is hitting you in your consciousness and is saying, like, why would you deal with that for so long? Or why would you deal with these kind of people? So on any level, when you have someone in your life who's showing you that they cannot change, and they're only manipulating you, and they only come through when they want something, and the rest of the time the relationships are rocky, and you can see when these people are empty and they don't have anything to give and they're a shell, you have to be careful and you have to limit your exposure. And I recommend cutting those kind of people all the way off so that you can build yourself up and meet people who are more like-minded and who also can give as much as you are, so you can get a flow. Love and light. If you like this audio, hit the thumbs up. Prove it by hitting the thumbs up. And if you think someone could benefit from this audio, please share it. And if you subscribe to my channel, thank you. I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, have a look around and subscribe. You guys have a happy new year. Read the description below. I'll see you soon.